Well, I've come back to work on my little quilt again. If you've been watching the first couple of videos, I had that one I had to take out and fix. But they're all fixed. That's what I've got now. Now it's time to put those borders on it. So let me get our pieces and I'll put them down here and I'll put them together. We'll sew these together first and then we'll put them onto the quilt. If you remember, I cut them the first day when we cut. So let's just sew them together. They've got the selvages, so I want to make sure that I sew and don't leave can trim that off. And these are the little narrow ones. Slip off my shoes. I don't have my shoes off yet. Can't sew with them shoes on. Listen, I serviced my machine the other day, or had a friend of mine come and serviced it. Doesn't it sound better? Look how, can you hear how quiet she is? We greased her up and oiled her up. She hadn't been getting the attention she needed. My Mona Carolina. So just listen. Don't she sound good now? Amazing what a little oil and grease will do. And I think you're supposed to oil them up after 8 hours of sewing. And the greasing, I think, is 6 months. I think how often it's supposed to be done. And I had been neglecting her. I'd oiled her, but I hadn't put the grease on her. And there's different places you open up here and put grease, and underneath here you put grease, and even the little motor back here gets some motor grease. She sounds so good. Get these sewed. And I'm going to sew the red one too. Just as quiet as a little mouse now, isn't she? And I'm just going to trim a little bit of that off like that. Instead of getting the rotary cutter out. Because this is just a simple little quilt. It's not anything fancy. One more. This one right here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to take another stitch right there because I left that white selvage on there. So I'm going to run that again a little. Now I've got it sewed up. Or if I trim it off, I'm not leaving that white selvage. And we'll press that in a minute. That's our little green border. Now let's get our red pieces here. This is about the last step. And next time you see this quilt, we'll be putting it, we'll make the backing and put it on the quilting machine. Getting them mixed up with And I don't know. I don't think you want to watch me sew all these pieces on there. So I won't make this video very long. This is just the way I do my borders. I just put them all on there. I try not to make some of the seam joins come out in certain places. I may wiggle them around. Where'd I put them scissors? Here they are. Here they are. Oh, got one more. Left one. Left one here. Let me get it. Just coming along here. Now, what I'm going to do now is get our quilt off the laptop quilt off the wall here. This is our long way. So I'm going to grab it. And I could press them, but since I'm just kind of in a hurry, just to hurry to show you guys, I'm just going to put it up here and sew it. Hadn't trimmed that selvage off, so I'll move it up there. Tilt it down just a little bit. Get everything placed. I'll sew a little bit, then I'll adjust it into place again. That's the way that I do it. Some people would measure those borders to get them to make sure they come out exact. But I guess I'm not as much of a perfectionist as some people. So I'll just hope that they'll come out good enough for me. Now I'm to the end, and there's where that one seam come out right there, and that's not too close to the edge, so that'll be fine. And I will probably square them up with the rotary cutter here in a little bit, but I'm gonna for now I'm just gonna trim it with my scissors and take this end and sew down this other side. And I like to go down the long side first. My lap. The other side. This is such a simple, easy little top. I know that you beginners that want to learn to make one can make this one. I know you could. Get it over here in my lap. Letting those seams go the way that I pressed them. Don't want them to turn back as they're sewing. But if they did, it wouldn't be too bad. But I'm trying to be careful and keep them down flat. And I will show you this little part. Can you see that? Where my two pieces here were sewed together, one didn't come out perfect, and so I made sure that I just let it kind of hang over and went with the shorter one. And after it's all done, nobody will ever know. Got a string. I'm gonna get that string. And I'm just gonna cheat and cut that straight across right there. And I really ought to press it first, but just to show you what I'm going to do, now I'm going to take this other piece, put it right up there and sew that, and then I'm going to go to the bottom end and sew it. And when I get that done, then I'll press it. Then I'll do the same thing with this red, and then I'll have my borders on it. And when I come back tomorrow, or whenever the next time I work on this, we're going to sew the backing. Let me show you the backing. Then we'll be ready to quilt this thing. Here'll be the backing, and it'll have to be sewed together. We'll sew it together and put it on the quilt machine. Probably our next video. So I'll finish sewing this, and I'll be back another day to show you another step.